Vivien Sharon, real estate broker with Sotheby's. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Vivien Sharon, real estate broker with Sotheby's International Realty Canada. I'm very excited to welcome you here today to my coffee series, Coffee with Vivien Live. So let me get my coffee and we're ready to roll. So today's episode is about how to write a book to increase your sales. In this episode of Coffee with Vivien Live, I'm very excited to have a special guest here today. John Toublaris is an international speaker, award-winning author, and real estate mindset coach. And he's also a Guinness record holder. But before we continue, let me tell you a little bit more about this series. In previous episodes, I spoke to a financial expert and writer from Forbes.com. Other topics included modern marriage from a legal viewpoint, the challenges seniors face with regard to housing and healthcare, interior design tips for 2021, how the environment affects real estate values, classical learning from your own home, and most recently, smart home technology. So Coffee with Vivien covers many topics: real estate, design, lifestyle, the environment, technology, culture, health, wellness, and much more. So today, our guest is John Toublaris. I invited John today because he was my real estate coach who encouraged me to write a book on a subject that I was passionate about. The subject is boomers and seniors and the fear that they feel when contemplating a downsizing move. John guided me throughout the process from A to Z with the structure, the writing, the content, the timelines, the final product. And it took me about 10 months from start to finish. And I'm grateful that he prodded me week by week to do it and to get it done. So the end product is my recently published book, The Boomer's 7-Step Guide to Downsizing, Overcoming Fear and Discovering Freedom, where you will find many tips and strategies to help adult children and their parents through the emotions of downsizing. There is a free digital book, which you can download by going to my website, viviensharon.com/book. And it is also available on Amazon in hard copy, on Kindle, and on Kobo. So there is no doubt that this book has elevated my business and my credibility as a niche expert in my field. And a shout out to John for helping me throughout the entire process. So John Toublaris is the author of Unleashed. The book is called Unleashed: Secrets to Break Through 11 Mindset Barriers to Dramatically Increase Your Real Estate Sales. John is a realtor with eXp Realty in Toronto and has 21 years of personal development experience and professional sales training. He is committed to helping his coaching clients achieve phenomenal sales success and to realize their dreams and goals. So welcome, John.
Hello, Vivien. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. This is exciting. So these are the 3 topics that we are going to be covering in general today. The art of writing a book, where to begin, finding your purpose and what is your target market, and publishing and marketing your book. Is your goal to educate or to sell? So At this moment, we're going to grab our coffees. We're going to take a little photo op here. Okay, thank you. And we will begin. So, John, I want to ask you the first question. What motivated you to write your book, Unleashed?
Oh, wow. How much time do we have? So many things motivated me. I've had the privilege and the honor to have so many great coaches, mentors in my life. And just from a young age, I've been 21 years in the personal development industry and constantly learning from other people. Just from a young age, from my teenage years, I've been seeing a lot of my idols, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, and so many others. And I said, one day I would love to write a book. And, of course, I got into then in my 20s, and then my mid 20s and late 20s, and it was something that I was just keep thinking about. I'm like, can I really do it? Is this something really possible that I can do it? And then, I got stuck in my mind about all the steps and how to do this. And I was, online, and I was researching, and, then I put it away. I parked it, right? And I remember I was part of a group in my early 30s at the time. And I declared to a group that, I'm going to write a book. I would love to write a book. And because I knew there was something inside me that I just wanted to share with others and really make a difference for. I really wanted to share, at first it was just like, hey, let's just write a book and make money, right? Then as I got into my mid 20s and, I made some choices in my life that were not the greatest. And, I started my real estate career when I was 23 years old. And as I, grew older, I got through some experiences, and I said, you know what, these are challenges, problems that I had that I know that can make a difference for people. And so how the book really came about, because I didn't know what book to write. And I'm sure, for viewers, for friends here, watching today, it's like, yeah, where do you begin, right? It's like, well, what do I write about, right? Like, I want to write a book, but what do I write about? And so how my motivation obviously started from the young age, but then how it came out to be, it was something that I had a challenge with. It was something that, that I was bumping up against in my life. And, that was, I remember when I was, in my early 20s, here I am, with $120,000 in debt, only $80 left to my name. And I said to myself, oh my goodness, like, I'm in this position, what I'm going to do? And I remember it was a Saturday night, 11:30 at night, staring at the trees. And here I am. And I was like, well, how am I going to, get out of this mess? I remember knocking on my parents' door at Saturday night when I was in my mid 20s at that time, 24, 25 years old, getting myself into this mess. And I said, Mom, Dad, I need some help. I need to, help me. I need to borrow at least $500. And, my father said, no, I'm not going to give it to you. And I remember following him down the hallway of our 3-bedroom bungalow at the time. And I said, Dad, I really need this $500. I really need to, borrow the money. I need to pay some real estate debts. My phone. I'm making the calls out of my parents' house. And at that point, it was like I really hit rock bottom. I had gained a substantial amount of weight. I remember the girlfriend at the time left me. I mean, it was just bad, right? Just living in my parents' basement. I mean, it was really bad. And I remember just saying that to my father, and he goes, "Great. Well, when are you going to give me that $500 back?" And I said, I promise I will do it on my first sale transaction. I promise I'll give you, the money back. And he said to me, okay, well, by when? And I'm like, oh gosh, like here I am in my 20s. I don't want to hear by when. I don't want to be responsible when I'm going to give money back, right? And I said, great. Well, my first sale, I'll give it to you, in 2 months from now, I promise. And there it was. I got back to the office. I was making my phone calls. I did not want to reach out and contact my database and the past clients. I was concerned what they were going to think about me. I thought I was going to be bothering them. On and on and on. It was just my ego was just getting in the way of me having a quality life. And I remember at that point, I just started getting on the phones. I spoke to my friend George. He said, "Come on, you can get on the phones and do it." And then I started making the calls. Well, it wasn't, I did the first day. I told my friend George, well, making calls doesn't work. Then he goes, well, do it again. And that was the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time. And then during that week, I finally found someone that was going to buy real estate, and they did. And I helped them buy, made $11,500, paid my father back the $500, an additional, I topped that up as well. So he got a few $1,000 out of me. That was pretty good for the interest rate for 2 months. And, and then after that, I just started going. And that was in my 20s. So when I got into my 30s and I started thinking about, what book am I going to write? I said, you know what? I had so many mindset challenges, in real estate. I had so many challenges, what people were going to think about me, if I'm going to be bothering people, the fear of rejection. I was procrastinating. Heaven's sake, I was even procrastinating on writing my book, right? I was, being a perfectionist. Everything had to be perfect a certain way, yet I wasn't making progress in my life. So when I spoke to a friend of mine, I said, well, I think I know what I'm going to write about. I'm going to write a book on how you overcome the mindset barriers. Because what I gained from, my challenges and where I was from when I was at is I said, there was some big blocks there. I didn't want to take responsibility. I was procrastinating on making phone calls. I was, being a perfectionist. I was, having the fear of rejection, what people thought. I mean, all the things that I believe today a lot of realtors are facing with. And so I wanted to personally educate and empower other realtors to say, hey, look, I've been there before. I know where you're at. Let me help you navigate through the chaos. Let me help you navigate the boundary, the barriers and the bondage of where you're at, and you can break through. So that's why my title is called Unleashed, because when you break through the certain mindset barriers, that's who you become. You become fully unleashed, you become fully expressed, and you can be, do, and have really anything and everything that you want. And that's how it came to be, and that's how it began. So that's why.
Okay. That was a good and long explanation, but I think it gives people a very good background to where you were in your career, how you were so motivated, and to take on the goal of writing a book. So now we know why you wrote the book, and you unleashed and discover all the 11 roadblocks and help people overcome them. So let's discuss the process of writing a book. I think this is what really interests people to find out, how does one do it? So the first thing I want to ask you is, where do you begin? We have a number of things to cover. So in a nutshell, how does one begin the process? What is the first thing?
Well, the first thing I would say is, why is it that you want to write the book? Like, what is your purpose? There's two things. What is the purpose for you? Like, what is it? Do you want to, educate people? Do you want to make, sales from it? Do you want to, perhaps use your book as a lead magnet and then, funnel people into your real estate or coaching program, or have homeowners hire you as the realtor? Like, what is the purpose? You got to get really, really crystal clear on purpose for you. And then the second part is, what is the purpose for your audience? What is the purpose for your target market? Like, I know my purpose for realtors is to really help them. And if you're a realtor watching this, is to really help you break through the mindset barriers so that you can increase your sales and earn more money. And that is my purpose, is to really empower. So really have two. So what's the purpose for you? And then what is the purpose for your audience?
Mm-hmm. So it's clear one has to have a goal. One has to be passionate. As I had described my journey briefly, I was passionate about helping people in my age group, in my sphere, struggling people, not more emotionally, how to overcome 40 years of living in a home and downsizing and clutter and A, B, C, D, E, all the things that I could do to help them. So I guess what we tell our audience is to have an idea that you're passionate about, that you can explain in a simplified version, in a book that has structure. So we need that. So once the first step is get the idea, be motivated and passionate about that topic. And then you have to discuss the process and setting up the structure. How do you guide your coaching clients, if they want to write a book, to start with, once the idea is settled, what happens next?
Yeah. So right after that, once we get the purpose for yourself and we get the purpose for the audience, the next step is, okay, let's be a little bit creative now. let's write the title. Let's write the subtitle in terms of what that would be. And, once we get the title and the subtitle, right after that, we get into the table of contents. And that's where we start to brainstorm. It's more of a collaboration and a partnership that I help a lot of realtors, a lot of people out there in terms of connecting with. And I really help them through the step. And in one session, I help people get clear on the title, the subtitle, and I can help you get clear on the table of contents as well. Because I've gone through the process several times. I've helped other people do it. And with that process, so to answer your question, it's a title, the subtitle, and then after that is writing out the table of contents. Correct.
I recall going through this process with you and going through the table of contents, because that is key. When you figure out, and the title and the subtitle is a challenge, and it gets reworked, but at least you have it started. And going through chapters, I believe you have 11 chapters. I have 8. I guess it doesn't really matter how many, but I think something I'd like you to address beyond the chapters, which is the critical information. I recall we discussed having a foreword, having acknowledgments, having a personal introduction. What can you say? And a conclusion. So the 2 bookmarks, what can you say about that part?
Yeah, for sure. So after you write the table of contents, you can definitely, there's the acknowledgments, there's the foreword. Now, the reason why someone would write the foreword, because I had this question the other day, and I'm glad someone brought this up the other day, is to really bring some credibility to your book as well. So if I'm in the real estate industry, so the person who wrote my foreword in my first edition of my book, was someone that was well known, well respected in the industry. So depends on what book you're writing. If you're writing a book like for homeowners, choose someone, if you're in your foreword, that's respected in the real estate industry or respected in, whatever industry you're writing about. And, that'll be great. And, they'll be more than honored to do that for you. Of course, you got to ask them nicely and politely, and that's what will be done. So that's for the foreword, someone who's respected. The acknowledgments, someone asked me again another question, was it 2 days ago? What do I write in the acknowledgments? Well, just people that, really helped you get to where you are. It's a, acknowledgement. It's not needed. However, I believe, gratitude is a huge thing. And the more grateful we are, I think the better energy that we pour out there. And of course, have it in our book. What better way to pour that energy out to our readers, the people who are reading our book? So just people that you want to acknowledge, whether it's your parents, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your, whoever that you admire, you want to acknowledge for, that you're grateful for. Yes. And several people in my acknowledgement section. And of course, if you're writing a book that's, empowering, other people overcome something, and you're potentially, perhaps, if you're selling a course, you want to increase your sales, some sort, I always say that, you want to put some success stories, something that's going to inspire and motivate other people. And, really, it's a great way to for people to get to know you as well, in terms of the number of people that you've helped and what you've done for them.
Right. I think that is very true. The personal aspect, having success stories is really important, and giving that picture credibility. So I'm going to hold up a copy of your book, and I don't know if we can see it, but I will show it in a moment. Very important. Thank you. I just wanted to show a copy of the book here that John has written. So the question is, I wanted to ask you, beyond the chapters and the beginning and the end that you mentioned, there are several other things that we discussed in the process of the past year when we completed the book together. There is the hard copy, which is, in your case, this is in my case. So the hard copy is one aspect of it. Then there is the ebook, the digital version. And I'd like you to talk to us about the value of the digital free download that you give to people and the value that presents.
Yeah, absolutely. My goodness, I've had so many downloads in the last couple of years since I wrote the book in 2018, and I can't believe it's going to be 3 years this August, September time. My goodness, how quickly time flies. So the value of the ebook is really to get your book and get more visibility. That's a key word, visibility. Of course, your name, getting it out there. Of course, more people can read it. However, it's something that people can instantly and quickly download it. They can browse through the chapters. They can read through the things that are going to really make a difference for them. There's always some goodies and freebies in there as well. And just it's a great way to connect with the author, find out what they're all about, and of course for the book to really help you overcome a problem or challenge, or maybe just for leisure. But of course, for our viewers here watching this, I'm sure they want to know, why is the ebook and how to increase your sales with it. Well, just like we worked with Vivien, when I helped you write your book, is once we went to the ebook version, is that we were writing a drip campaign. So I said to you, well, if you're going to do a drip campaign, make sure you're giving valuable, educational, inspirational messages to your market. So that way they're constantly learning from you. You're constantly educating and really helping people throughout the process. So they can, when they think of Vivien, it's like, okay, Vivien helps me. Vivien educates me. Vivien inspires me, right? Easier for me. And with all your golden, with all the nice tips and the nuggets with that. And as I've done the same thing with Unleash, which I highly recommend for people to download at thebookunleash.com. And you'll see that it's constantly dripping with valuable content, valuable educational, and there's always a call to action. So that's the value, that you're educating people, but there's also a call to action that links right back to you so that you can have either a free consultation, a free strategy session, whatever the case may be. And that way it can help you, find more prospects, find more, potential clients.
Absolutely. In my case, it totally has been an ongoing process. And I think when you're writing a business book, I guess you would say this is a business book, a motivational business book that you wrote, that I wrote, that many your clients potentially are talking about. And it lives much longer. Yes, it lives in hard copy, but it lives in their email once a week. And that was very much part of the process that you just mentioned that I did with my team, putting together the most valuable little email nuggets that they get in their inbox once a week. And it went on, and it goes on for a long time, even a year or more on a weekly basis. So that's something people should think about. It's not just the hard copy, it's also the digital download that you give away. And people really are grateful for that. So what are the timelines? Is there any type of timeline when people are thinking about writing a book from the beginning to the end that you feel in general it takes?
Vivien, that's probably one of the top questions I get. How much, like, what do I write about? And like the next question is, what's the timeline? How much time is it going to take me, right? And this is what I always say: how good are you at scheduling, following your schedule, and how much time are you going to devote to your project here, right? Because it's going to take a long time if you're devoting 1 hour a month as opposed to someone devoting 1 hour a day. So it really depends on you. I have the system. I got the formula. It really depends up to you. I just recently got a great client right now. She's looking to write a book. She's a realtor here in Toronto, and she's looking to write a book in the luxury market. And it's amazing that what she's come up with and what she's going to be creating. And with that said, she asked me the same question, and I said, well, how much time are you going to devote? And she goes, well, I'll chip away every day. And I said, well, in my mind, I said, well, then the book's going to be done pretty quickly, right? So it really depends up to you, or as for our viewers here, in terms of how much time are you going to invest, or you going to devote on a daily and weekly basis. And when you do that, the book will be done, so much sooner, as opposed to dedicating 1 hour a month or something, right?
Right. So in my particular case, I recall in our conversation back, I began my process with you on this just before COVID started. It was December 2019. And I really didn't do that much at the beginning. But of course, in March 2020 through till August 20, 2020. And September, October, I completed everything. So I give it about 10 months. It gave me the opportunity to write this book and go through it with you. And of course, you edited it, you reviewed it from the real estate point of view. If I would have made any mistakes, you caught them. And I worked on this every day, Monday through Thursday. I didn't do Fridays and weekends. And I spent every evening, Monday through Thursday, pretty well every evening from 5 to 9 p.m. That was my way of doing it. I was stuck at home anyway, and a lot of us in the evenings are at home. After dinner, maybe, that was a good time before I started with TV later in the evening. So that worked for me. But everybody has a different time clock. So, but it's definitely the discipline. Discipline is huge, but you reap all the benefits after. So let's jump now to completing the book. You have to get it published. You have to get it printed. And we'll talk after about the marketing. But before that, tell us about how do you get a book published? You write chapter by chapter by chapter, you get it looked at, and then who gets it printed for you?
Yeah, great question. And so exactly. So once we write through the chapters, we write the acknowledgments, the foreword, the success story, and everything. And what I always tell the clients that I help is that, make sure it's in a Google Doc format, because I like to review everything. And then once we go to the next step, and I feel that it's at a point right now, and of course, my client feels that it's at a point where it's like, okay, well, now we can give it in. At that point, I start making recommendations to an editor and a formatter. That's the key thing. A lot of people just think, well, I'm just going to get it edited. Well, you need it formatted as well, because, I have a copy of my book right here, actually, because when you actually open it up right here, you want to make sure that the words are not going right in between the spine here. So the forwarder will actually make sure it's the right indent here so that people can properly read along the lines here. So that's one of the tips I'm going to give, is that, make sure you find an editor and a formatter, which I have contacts to, of course, a publisher as well, a few publishers actually. And that way your book can get published and it's properly edited and formatted. And of course, before it goes to print, you will get a copy, a version of it, to see what it looks like before you start printing off, hundreds of books.
Exactly. So there's no question I went through that very same process. I had a connection with an overseas publisher editor from someone who I'm very close to in the publishing field. And believe it or not, after you did all the proofing and checking for real estate content, I sent everything. He wanted everything complete, and he took about a month to edit it with his proofreading team. And you won't believe where he lives. He lives in the Czech Republic, in Prague. So my publisher editor was overseas. So you have an amazing circle of people out there that you can work with, that get recommended to you, and it gets done, and it's extremely exciting once it's complete. So once you finish the book, how do you get people to find out about it? How do you market it, or else it'll sit on your shelf at home?
Exactly, Vivien, and that's the thing. I know so many authors that they write a book and it sits on the bookshelf collecting dust, right? And so the first part is definitely writing the book. However, the next half of it, which is the biggest part of it, I think it's like 70-80% of it, is the marketing of the book. And you asked me, how does one market the book? Well, there's so many different ways. I mean, obviously the most effective way these days is social media, right? I mean, just getting onto Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, on and on and on, and really getting out there, creating videos, content, really speaking to your target audience and your target market. There's, sometimes there's publications, there's media, there's news. I mean, all these people are always looking for a great story to cover, and they're constantly out there looking for stories. So why not put yourself in the way? And that's what I do. We do a strategy session right after we complete the book in terms of the marketing. And that's where we sit down and say, okay, well, what's the best way? I know with you, Vivien, what we did is say, okay, well, let's reach out to your database, right? Let's reach out to your database. Why don't you share them? Pop by your favorite, your clients, your top people there, provide a copy of this book. And that way you can generate some leads, some referrals, and some sales. right? So there's all these different ways that you can go on about it. It's really just having a session once we complete the book. So then after you can go out there and start marketing it. But definitely there's, dozens and dozens away. Though I know how I marketed my book. I just started going to different brokerages here in the city. And then from speaking to many brokerages here in the city, took me down to, California, Florida, Chicago, Jersey, New York. And I was speaking for free. I was willing to speak for free to get my name out there, to get the book out there. And that way, how I found more coaching clients, and I was able to support them, guide them, and really help them to increase their sales.
Right. So it's really clear that due to COVID now, and of course we'll come out of it soon, one can't run around and do any kind of public showings or big events like having a launch. I couldn't have a launch. And no authors really can right now. However, it hasn't stopped me in any way, and it shouldn't stop anybody else, because I think you saw right now coming up a whole campaign that my team put together in a fabulous way. Videos of every segment of every chapter, and getting it out through social media. We really did a huge strategy. You can see just throughout some of my blogs where I speak about the book and all the tips. We have a whole, and all the bonuses. We did a lot of videos with bonuses. So what I'm trying to say is, you write the book and you have a strategy, a visual strategy, and you're seeing it a bit on the screen. So it's wonderful to have a great team behind you. I think you have to hire a team. You can, if you're in real estate, like I am, working full-time selling real estate, working with buyers and sellers, you will not have the time to do all the back-end stuff and all the marketing. So you have to hire a media strategist, perhaps for a month or two to get your book out, or you have to create a drip campaign and blogs that keep it alive and helping people with information. So you've done the same, I've done the same, and I went chapter by chapter, as you're seeing here throughout the book, and it's been a really exciting project. So at this point, I'm going to ask you one last question that I put together for you. Do you feel book writing is a dying art? Do you feel, or not? Do you feel people are reading? And that's the question today.
Absolutely. I think writing a book is extremely valuable. Even if people don't read your book, just by having the book is an effective business card. It increases your credibility. It increases your visibility. It increases, who you are in that space, in that industry. So regardless of not reading your book, just the fact that you got a book, people get, they say, wow, that's fantastic. And whether you're going to a listing presentation, whether you're giving it to a prospect. So rather than giving a little card that costs a couple of cents, well, now you can give something of value to someone. So that way you can create that wow factor. In terms of reading, well, a lot of people are sitting at home. What are they doing? While they're watching TV, they're reading up online, and more people are going online. So whether they're reading your physical book or whether they're reading your ebook, they're reading. So absolutely. I mean, writing a book is, it's done wonders for me. It's, you're doing really well with your book as well. So absolutely. I strongly believe and agree. People, should keep reading. And I always say, leaders are readers, and of course, write their book.
There is no question. There is credibility to the process. I really, as you can see from what we're saying, it gives you credibility. It is a calling card for John. It's a calling card for me. It's a calling card for anybody who does the work and speaks to it. And I can only attest to that being true. We have a number of people that have come on the chat, and I want to thank everybody. That I can see Marianne and Ada and a number of other people on the list. And you may have some questions or not, or you're mainly commenting how much you're enjoying hearing about the book and the processes that we've all gone through to make this happen, the writing process. So at this point, I'd like you just to tell us, John, before we go, how do people find you?
Yeah, very simply, you can find me on my social media. Just type in my name. You can, go on to thebookunleashed.com. That's thebookunleashed.com. And if you want to send me an email, that's John, JOHN, at thebookunleashed.com. And you can just send me an email there. Feel free to ask me any questions. I'm available to help, and we'll go from there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you, Vivien. This was a lot of fun. We should do it again.
It really was great. I thank you for your time and your insight and help along the way, all the way. And I'm sure you're going to be helping a lot of other clients find their passion to write a book and have it happen for them as well. So I thank you, John, and this ends our episode. And I thank everyone for joining me today. And the next episode of Coffee with Vivien Live is on Wednesday, May the 26th, and it will feature Mallory McGrath, who's the founder of Vive Planning, who will discuss legacy planning and how to help families plan their legacy for future generations in a loving and caring way. I want to remind you that you can follow me and this series on Facebook, on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, or on my website, viviensharon.com/live. So please like this video, leave a comment if you enjoyed it. I hope you did. You'll let us know that, and with a like, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.